The rain tapped softly against the diner windows like restless fingers trying to deliver a warning from the outside world. The noon rush had passed, leaving the place wrapped in an uneasy silence. Only the faint humming of old ceiling lights and the smell of burnt coffee lingered in the air. Sara's hands trembled as she poured fresh coffee into a white ceramic cup. The dark bruises stretching across her neck and jaw were impossible to ignore, purple and yellow like painful storms trapped beneath her skin. She kept her eyes down, hoping no one would notice, but her body betrayed her. Her fingers shook, her voice refused to rise, and the sadness in her steps whispered louder than words. Across the booth sat Jackson Cole, leader of the Ravens MC. His storm-grey eyes followed every movement she made. Tattoos crawled across his arms, and his presence alone was enough to silence any room. But right now it wasn't power he felt. It was something unfamiliar, something boiling. His fists tightened slowly on the table, knuckles turning white. Sara set the cup in front of him, but a few drops spilled as her grip faltered. Jackson's voice was low, deep and steady, but burning. "Who did that to you?" She froze. Her breath hitched. For a moment, her eyes glimmered with fear. Then she forced herself to look away. "Your coffee will get cold, sir," she whispered before walking off, as if the question itself could shatter her. "If you believe in kindness and second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Exposed Tales." Jackson didn't touch his cup. His brothers at the next booth fell silent too. Rough men with skull patches, leather vests, heavy rings, and lives full of scars. Yet none of them could ignore the heaviness in that girl's steps. The air changed. The diner, the rain, the world, everything felt different. Rook, an older bearded biker, leaned forward and spoke quietly. "Boss, those aren't accident marks." Jackson didn't answer. He just stared at the counter where Sara stood, shoulders shaking every few seconds like she was holding back tears. He had seen bruises before. He had seen broken bones and broken people. But this felt personal, and he didn't know why. That night, long after closing, the lights in the diner went dark, and Sara stepped outside alone. Jackson was still there, watching from the shadows beside his bike, rain dripping from his leather jacket. He hadn't planned to stay. His instincts simply wouldn't let him leave. As she locked the door, a black car screeched up and a man stormed out. Tall, angry, eyes burning with arrogance. He grabbed Sara by the arm so hard she gasped in pain. "I told you to come straight home," he roared. Jackson stepped forward, his boots splashing through puddles. Sara whispered, "Thomas, please, not here." But Thomas yanked her again, and that was enough. Jackson's hand clamped around Thomas's wrist, squeezing with controlled fury. Thomas winced and tried to pull back, but Jackson didn't move an inch. His voice was ice. "Let her go." Thomas snarled, "Who the hell are you?" Jackson leaned in, eyes unblinking. "The man who will bury you if you ever touch her again." Thomas ripped his hand free, cursing, threatening, but Jackson didn't react. Thomas finally spat near their feet and drove away, leaving Sara shaking in the rain, hugging herself like a child left in a storm. Jackson took off his jacket and draped it over her shoulders. She didn't speak, but tears streamed down her face, mixing with the rain. For the first time, she wasn't hiding them. The next days changed everything. Sara slowly revealed the truth. Years of control, fear, isolation. A life where her voice never mattered. Jackson and the Ravens MC became her shield. They walked her home. They waited outside her shifts. They stood between her and every shadow from her past. People in the town whispered at first. Bikers were trouble, they always said. But for the first time, the town saw something different. A gang not destroying, but protecting. If this moment touched your heart, hit like to support our stories. Thomas didn't stop. He stalked her. He threatened her. He tried to pull her back into the cage she had barely escaped. But this time, Sara wasn't alone. The Ravens MC stood with her in court, in the sheriff's office, in the dark moments when she nearly lost courage. Jackson never asked for thanks. He simply said, "No one gets to own you." And slowly the town changed. Fear changed into respect. Sara's silence changed into laughter. The bruises faded from her skin and from her spirit. She smiled again. Not the fake smile she used to wear for customers, but a real one that reached her eyes. At the diner, months later, Jackson returned for coffee. Sara placed the cup in front of him with steady hands and a bright face. "No trembling this time," he said with a small smirk. She laughed softly. "Not anymore." The diner wasn't silent now. It was alive, warm, and full of new beginnings. Jackson wasn't her savior. He was simply the man who refused to stay silent when she needed someone to stand up. Which part of this story touched your heart the most? Comment below. If this story moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us share more heart-touching tales. Sara later said something that the whole town remembered. "When you see someone hurting, don't look away." Sometimes one voice, one hand, one act of courage can rewrite someone's entire life. Even the toughest people can be someone's guardian angel. Strength isn't in hurting others. It's in protecting those who cannot stand alone.